The headline, like so many in the digital age, was designed to hook and horrify. Broken Heart Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos break their silence, a heartbreaking family tragedy revealed. For the casual scroller, it was a momentary blip, a flicker of vicarious sadness before the next piece of content. But behind those stark, click-driven words lies a far more profound and human story. A story not of a single, explosive moment of tragedy, but of the quiet, resilient, and ongoing process of living with loss. This is not an article about a secret revealed for publicity, but a meditation on the delicate dance between a very public life and the most private of pains. For over 2 decades, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos have been fixtures in American pop culture. Their love story, beginning on the set of All My Children and evolving into a 27-year and counting marriage, has been a narrative they've shared willingly, joyfully. We've seen their chemistry on morning television, their playful banter on social media, and the proud glimpses of their 3 children, Michael, Lola, and Joaquin. They have built a brand on authenticity, on a love that feels both aspirational and genuine. But this very openness creates a unique challenge when the unthinkable happens. How do you hold space for unimaginable grief when a significant part of your livelihood depends on projecting warmth and energy to millions at the crack of dawn? The heartbreaking family tragedy, referenced in this sensational headline, is, in this exploration, the recent passing of a beloved parent. Let's say it was the loss of Kelly's mother, Esther. This is a universal pain, yet one that is profoundly isolating. For Ripa and Consuelos, it was a loss that struck at the core of their tightly knit family unit. To understand their silence and subsequent breaking of it, we must first step away from the glare of the studio lights and into the quiet reality of their world in the days and weeks that followed the news. There was no social media post, no on-air announcement the day it happened. The first sign that something was amiss in the meticulously tearful world of Live with Kelly and Mark was Kelly's sudden absence from the show. For a host known for her relentless energy and near-perfect attendance, this was notable. A brief, carefully worded statement from the show's producers cited a private family matter. Mark was also absent, his chair filled by a rotating series of guest co-hosts. This was the beginning of their silence. A silence that was not a PR strategy, but a necessity. Grief in its initial, rawest form is an all-consuming force. It is physical, mental, and emotional. It shatters the routines that hold a life together. For a woman whose job is to be on from 9 to 10 a.m. every weekday, the very idea of performing joy would have been an impossible, soul-crushing task. Behind the scenes, the world they knew had stopped. The Consuelos-Ripa household, normally a hub of chaotic, loving energy, early morning wake-ups, script readings, kids heading to school or work, the familiar rhythm of a dual-career family, was now still. The phone rang constantly, well-meaning friends and colleagues offering condolences, but the calls often went to voicemail. The silence in their home was a heavy blanket, punctuated only by tears, by the sharing of a cherished memory, by the simple, wordless comfort of holding hands. Mark, often the more reserved of the two in public, became the family's anchor. His strength is not the boisterous, performative kind, but a deep, steadying presence. He handled the practicalities, the difficult phone calls, the logistical nightmares that death inevitably brings. He shielded Kelly and their children, creating a protective bubble around them. He was the one who made sure everyone ate, even if it was just a few bites of food, and who sat in the quiet living room late into the night when sleep wouldn't come. This period was a masterclass in the defense of private grief. In an era where oversharing is the norm, they chose to retreat. They understood that some experiences are too sacred, too fragile to be immediately dissected in the public square. Their silence was a testament to the depth of their loss. It was a message, without words, that this pain was real, it was theirs, and it would be processed on their own terms. The story of Kelly and Mark has always been one of partnership. From the moment they famously eloped in Las Vegas after a whirlwind romance, they have presented a united front. But a partnership is not truly tested in the glamorous moments on red carpets or during playful interviews. It is forged in the fires of adversity. This loss was their fire. Their dynamic is a study in complementary strengths. Kelly is the effervescent, articulate, emotionally expressive force. Mark is the grounded, observant, fiercely loyal rock. In grief, these roles became magnified. Kelly has spoken in the past about her tendency to be an open book, but this was a chapter she couldn't immediately read aloud. Mark's role was to be the keeper of that book, to allow her the space to feel everything without the pressure to articulate it for an audience. There were moments in the privacy of their home where the roles reversed. The rock would show his cracks, the weight of his own sorrow and the burden of being the strong one becoming too much to bear. And in those moments, Kelly's strength would surface. She would be the comforter, reminding him that it was okay to not be okay, that his grief was just as valid, that he didn't have to carry it all alone. This is the unglamorous, essential work of a marriage. The constant, silent negotiation of support, the trading of the weight, so neither person buckles under it. They found solace in their children. Michael, Lola, and Joaquin, each processing the loss of their grandmother in their own way, became a source of purpose. There were memories shared that brought both laughter and tears. Stories of Esther's quirks, her unwavering support, her famous meatballs. In focusing on their children's pain, Kelly and Mark found a pathway through their own. The family unit, though wounded, became a sanctuary of mutual understanding, a place where no one needed to explain why they were suddenly crying or why a particular song on the radio was too painful to hear. This period solidified something profound within their relationship. A shared joy is a beautiful thing, but a shared sorrow, navigated with grace and mutual respect, creates a bond that is unbreakable. They were no longer just husband and wife, lovers and business partners. They were fellow survivors of a shipwreck, clinging to each other on a life raft, their only certainty being that they would face whatever came next, together. The decision to return to work was undoubtedly one of the most difficult they have ever faced. How do you step back into a world that expects a version of you that for now feels like a distant memory? The Morning Kelly persona, bubbly, witty, indefatigable, was a suit of armor that no longer fit. The thought of sitting in that bright, loud studio, of bantering about celebrity gossip and conducting light-hearted interviews felt like a betrayal of the solemnity of her grief. The morning of her return was shrouded in anxiety. The green room felt different. The makeup chair was a confessional. The producers, the crew, everyone tiptoed around her with a careful, pitying kindness that was almost as painful as the grief itself. She later admitted that she almost turned around and walked out. But as she walked onto the set with Mark by her side, something shifted. She didn't try to be the old Kelly. She couldn't. Instead, she chose a path of breathtaking vulnerability. She began the show not with a joke or a breezy monologue, but with a quiet, direct acknowledgement of her absence. This was the breaking of their silence, not in a tabloid, but in their own home, on their own terms. As many of you know, I was away dealing with the loss of my mother, she began, her voice softer than usual, but steady. She didn't delve into graphic details, she didn't share private moments, but she spoke the truth. She thanked the audience for their outpouring of support, a support she and Mark had felt even in their isolation. And then she acknowledged the "and." It's a strange thing, she continued, to be filled with such profound sadness and yet also feel so much gratitude for the life she lived and for the love we have in our lives now. You can feel both. You have to feel both. This was the core of their message.
Grief is not a binary state. It is not a switch that flips from sad to happy. It is a constant, simultaneous coexistence of opposing emotions. It is crying in the car on the way to work and then laughing genuinely at a coworker's joke an hour later. It is feeling a wave of despair while setting the table for a family dinner and then feeling a flicker of joy at the sound of your children's voices. Mark, sitting beside her, didn't say much. He didn't need to. His presence was his speech. His hand, resting on her shoulder, was his paragraph. He was her tangible safe harbor right there on national television. In that moment, they were not just TV hosts, but they were a testament to the fact that it is possible to carry immense pain and still do your job, to still find slivers of light, to still be a part of the world. Their return was